All right, so a couple of things you saw in our previous video, which was our introduction to JavaScript, understand what is JavaScript and where to use, where it's used, setting up the environment. So how to create variable, syntax. We saw so much. So if you didn't watch the previous video, please go ahead and watch it. So I'll leave the description or link it up here so we can go ahead and watch that previous video. So in this video, we are going to start from beginner to master level. Um, so we are going to see many things. We are going to see many things. Of course, we will see again arrays and object. We are going to see all of this one. Uh, Also, advanced functions, the array, and much more. Right. So to get started, we can go to we'll go to my desktop. So this was what you created here, a file we created last time. So if you don't have this, just don't have this folder, I can just show you how you can open this with the VS Code. Right, open this with the VS Code. So if you don't have it, you can just go ahead and create any file in here on your desktop, give it a name and open it with the VS Code. So once you open it with the VS Code, you just create a file here, create a file. I would say create a folder, name it anything you need, you want to name it, and open that folder with the VS Code. And within the folder, you can create an index file, index.html. So this will help us now open the file in the browser so that we can debug our JavaScript or see our JavaScript. So this was it what we built last time. There's nothing complicated there. So if you follow along with us, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So this is what we built last time. It wasn't that much. Yeah? So we are going to delete everything because we don't really need them. So we are going to delete everything. I'm going to delete everything here. So if I save this file again, I save this again, and oh, something here is missing. So make sure that you keep the script. Can remove all this one, uh, even it can't, but you can just give a title here. Just give a title h1 JavaScript course from beginner to expert. So that's it. That's it. And I'm just clear everything in here. I'm trying to clear everything here. All right, there you go. And JavaScript from beginner to expert. Okay, so if I save this file again, I can open this file. Today we are going to open it the same way, but so I will show you now how we can open it with the JavaScript. Open it from our VS Code. So if I open, this is what I get in my browser. And if you go to developer tools, go to more tools and developer tools. If you open, you see that in our console. So when the tabs here on the right side, the table tabs, this one console, you see that we've got nothing in here. So this is it for now. So I'm sure you can do the same and open our file in the browser like this. Okay, let's go to the next episode. Thank you. Okay, so we saw how we can open our file directly by going and click here, but we don't want to open that way. So we want to close that. We don't want to do that. But what we want to do, we want to open it from here. So to open our file, just here so that you can have that live preview, that feature. So I can just go here, run and debug, click, and then run and debug. So select now which app you want to use, which which browser you want to use. So in my case, I want to use Chrome. So I can just click here, and this will open our application again from the browser. So what I can do next, I can resize this. I can resize this and maybe just close this for now. So I want to resize it so that have I can have both my editor and this one. So I can resize it this way and now keep here. So if now can close the site and here. So I want to show you an example. If, for example, I can add here a paragraph, say lorem, save that, and if you hit here, you can see here restart. If you click here, automatically restart. So I don't need to go to the server. I don't need to go to the browser to go reload it again. Okay, that was one way. So we saw that we can next thing we saw that you can write JavaScript in here, but I want to show you another way that you can actually link JavaScript. So I can remove this one. I can remove this. We don't need this here, and just save it. So I can go here, create another file, create a file. So this is external JavaScript now. So I can create a script.js. If you name it .js, you'll see this icon here. So in case if you don't see this icon, you can go to extensions and look for icons. Look for icons in your VS Code, and then you make sure that you have this one downloaded. You have this one installed. Right. So that's the only thing you need to do here. There's nothing much to do. So in here now I can say again JavaScript uh, from beginner to from beginner sorry to expert or pro. So if I save that, but what I want to do is I want to console.log message here so that you can see it in the browser. So I want to link my JavaScript in here. So the way the way we saw before, that we can link your JavaScript from here, the head, or you can also link it from the body. So the best practice is to load the JavaScript after the body tag has full loaded. So I can link to here JavaScript. So if I save that, so I want to show you. You can go back, try a reload, and then want to go to developer tools again. So maybe can use inspect, and then go to console. You can see that our JavaScript was loaded here. So that was one way console. Another built-in method for functions for JavaScript is also alert. So you can do alert. So these are windows. If I reload here, alert is there. Okay. So this is one way you can link JavaScript. You can run your app, and then also we can also link your JavaScript. So another thing is we can now we can create now. Let's go ahead and create first of all. Create now our we want to create our file. Create our file here, or append text here. Sorry, not file, but just append text to this one. And then also we can now append now create now form to do some validation, because we saw how we can manipulate the DOM, but we can also still see much more about manipulating the DOM. Right now, let's. All right, so I just got the form here. So this is the form which we have. We're going to play around with this one. So we need to manipulate the form, all of this. Back to this is the HTML. So we just have a little bit of CSS. Since this course is not really about CSS, it's not about styling. Sorry, and so we got this one. We got H2. Yes, we got heading 2 subtitle. Okay, so from here we saw how we can. First of all, we saw how we can assign variable. We can assign variable to variable, or add value to a variable, but we only see string, integer, and more. But we can also assign an HTML element to a variable. We can do something, for example, const. We can do this const over, but in this case, let's use const. Say subtitle is equal to, and now we want to get this subtitle. So we want to access this and change the title here. So in HTML, before even moving forward, HTML got what we call DOM. If you go back to, yes. So the HTML DOM API. So the HTML DOM API is made up of the interface that define the functionality of each of the elements in the HTML, as well as any supporting types and interface they rarely happen. So what we say here, okay, is the HTML. I can comment this one for now. We have this called DOM. Document. So if I do console.log document, we want to see what is that document. I think we saw it before, but if you go back here and then go to developer options, you see, for example, this is the DOM. This is what we have here in the DOM. So you see that the DOM represent everything, is everything about the web page. Okay, so the DOM or document object is the owner of all the objects, all other objects in the web page. So the DOM is the one actually responsible for the whole thing. So you see that if you want to get body, you just console.log DOM, and then you can access the body. You can access now body, access the children, everything from here. Next, we can also okay, this is how, first of all, this is how you can see what is inside the DOM. But if now I want to access now a child, I can do the way to access now a child, or to access an HTML element. You do document dot if you want to access, for example, element by ID. In this case, we want to access this element by ID. So we get the ID, we take the ID. So we can do dot get element by ID, and then we pass the subtitle. So now if I console.log subtitle, so we will now have that. Let's try to reload. So this is now the subtitle. So that means here, if I want to change, I can actually change the text here. So this will appear here directly. So if I can go back to my JavaScript, just Let's try to minimize this one, and this one too for now. So we can do um, we can change the title. Can do subtitle dot text. If you want to change the text, the content, or sorry, the string, the text there, I can do subtitle dot text is equal to let's follow this one, is equal to JavaScript from beginner to pro. If I save that and I reload, you see now we have that subtitle here. So we can also add things like class, add style. We can add much of things in here. So we want to speed up. We are not going to add style. We will get back to that later. So we can also get the like form. So get form by ID. Get form element. So we can do const form is equal to document.get element by ID form. So if I go back here, you see that we have a form. This is the form we have. We got just label, input name, and last name, and the countries list. This is what we have here. But look up here. So we got an ID. So if you want to access this form, we can just access this by ID. We can get this form by ID. So from up here, I can do get form by get element by ID. Then you pass this. So if I console.log form and back here, I reload, you see, I want to see this now. This is the form. So the form is here. So I want to show you how many elements we got in here. We got first name, or we got the name and the last name. But let's add the username. Add username input. So we can do const username input is equal to document.create element, and then you pass the type of element you want to create is input. And then the input, which now we take this. Let me expand this. All right. So we can take now the username, which first of all, I want to tell you that the element we want to create, or we want to assign it to this variable called username. And then we take now, since we have now the element, so we want to assign it now, or put now the type. So you put now the type equal to text, and then we set also the another attribute is equal to another attribute of username. And then we also want to set, for example, placeholder to enter your username, and we can now append now form. This is our form, and then append child. So if I take this, you go to Mozilla, open Mozilla. This is Mozilla, so you can see node. So append child. So this is a method. So we are not going to pass through all of this, but it's just good to at least give you a portion of it. You can know about it because they're very, very important. So this is what we have now. Right now, you can go ahead and read a little bit. It's not that complicated, but the best way to learn about it is to play around with it. Yeah? Okay, just the way we are doing. Another thing is, okay, now I've appended a child. Append a child, which is now user name. So if I save this and go back to this is it. If I reload this, now we see we got username is here. The username is now coming right after because we didn't specify the order. We can also specify the order. But if I want to show you, if you go back to here, if you look now, we got now the name, first name, last name. We got also this one here. We got also a country or select options. Right. So what next do you want to do here? We can get rid of this for now.
So if you get the form data, that was it for just manipulating a form. But another thing I want to show you is we can also, first of all, let's talk about event. Let's talk about event. JavaScript event. JavaScript. I want to get some space here. Say JavaScript event. JavaScript event. Okay. Let's go back to Mozilla. Okay, the event interface represents an event which takes place on an on a target, an event target. So an event can trigger by the user action, example, clicking the mouse button or tapping keys, or generated by APIs to represent the progress of an synchronized task. Okay. Um, Another thing of event, there's much there's much happening in JavaScript. So event, HTML event are things that happening in JavaScript. For example, when you come to this web page, you can click the button. Once you click the button, something need to happen. You can click search button. You can submit form. So that is an event. So in this particular way, there's many way. There's many way. There's many way you can handle JavaScript or HTML events. So in this way, I want to show you an example. For example, which if we take our form dot. So we want to see how we can add an event. So we can do add event listener like this, and then we say submit. The event you want to listen on is submit. So this is submit. This is submit like this one, and then close. Okay. So this is how we create an event. You don't need to do anything in here. So once you just click, just press dot here. This is a built-in method for JavaScript. You can see that you have an event. So this is not only for Java for form. This could be also for like even that submit for subtitle. If I just press dot, so I will see all the method here, all the built-in method here for the HTML. What can you do with this one? You can add event listener, after, animated, append children, all of that. So look here. If you scroll down a little bit, you can still go back to Mozilla. I want you to know that this can be your good friend, Mozilla developer.mozilla. So you can learn much from here, documentation about everything here, especially JavaScript here. So event target, add event listener. So this is the method, and you can see that yes, this is the method. The method of the event target interface setup function that will be called whenever the specified event is delivered to the target. So common targets are element or it is children. So in this case here, we can say add event listener. On click on that button, we close it. Make sure to close the carry bracket. Sorry, carry the parenthesis. Sorry. So on click, we want to alert. We want to alert. You might ask yourself, where is the alert coming from? Alert is this our function. This is our built-in function for window. So if on click, you can now say, this is it. This is here. So if I reload this one, on click of the subtitle, you want to see the title. On click, now this is subtitle clicked. So this is a job for the event. So we can also say on click console.log subtitle clicked. Back here, you can just go back to minimize again. So I can reload. On click, you will see the same message here. All right, so this is for subtitle. But what we want to do, we want to do add event now to the form. And do form dot add event listener. Add event listener. So we don't want to see all of this. Can remove everything for now. So now we want to listen on submit. The first one was on click, but now on submit, we can do console.log form submitted. So the event is here. So you pass the event. Remember, you saw in our previous video, video, of course, that a function can take a parameter. So these are function which will now take the parameter. So this is the function which is being called. Once this event happen, we call this function. And this function now will have access to anything. You will take a parameter or take everything happen within the HTML element. So what we want to do here is on submit, we just want to console.log this one. So if I click here, you go to minimize again. You can minimize like this. And if you submit, want to see form submitted. But we can also see what is it in the event. So I can go to this one, form submitted, and then you can console.log event. So if I go back and reload, submit again, we want to see what is in there. Now we can see form submitted. Now we have now access to the event. You can now see is trusted, all of this. But we are not, for now, we want to just get the target. So we want to go to target here directly. So we want to target the element. We want to access the element. So can console.log. No, we want to get event dot target. So we want to log that one. So on submit again, look now, we get now the form. This is now the form. You can see now the form. Let's try to reload so that you can clear. On submit again, we have now the form. So we have now the form with the all inputs. So for example, if I want to access any element or any child within the form, so I can access them here directly. All right, so this is it for event, handling the event within the HTML, even on click, on submit. So there is many way. There's many events on load, on window. So there's many way. But for now, this is it. So what we want to do now, we want to validate the data. This is one of the common thing doing a lot when you start building with JavaScript. So you start validating the data, you check the data, make a request, get the data, all of that. All right, let's go and do that. All right, so we are ready to manipulate the form data, catch the input value, and all of that. But first of all, we have to know that the input default behavior is to submit to a page, to reload the page or go to a different page. So that's why you see, okay, for example, here I've put is just the same page, the same template, which is index.html. So this is the current page. So if you go back to the browser, for example, I try to submit, it will submit to the same page. This one here, it try to go to the same page, but we don't want to go there. So we want to stay in the same page. We don't want to reload the page or try to go to a different page. So to do that, we can go back to our HTML, to our JavaScript. This is our JavaScript. So we take event, since this is a submit event, so we want to do event dot prevent default. So this is a built-in function for JavaScript. So if you call this one, so this will prevent the form to submit to go anywhere, but the rest of the things still work. So I can do console.log form submitted. So everything should work, but it should just stop the HTML, tell the HTML to not go anywhere, to stay here. So if I reload this, try to submit again, you see that the form was submitted, but we didn't go anywhere. The page didn't reload. All right, so this is the power of JavaScript. Another thing is now we can now try to access now the form inputs. Since we know now we know that we can access any HTML element by ID. So we want to access now the name to get this one. So we can do say get name. So name is equal to get element by ID. So we pass the name. The ID is first name, which we take this one. This the ID is equal to f name, first name, and then also we got the last name, which is say last name. So the ID is equal to L last name. Maybe let's see what is the ID here. ID is L last name. Okay, so we see that I want to show the first one. So get element by ID, you can do dot. You see now the method here. You can get dot value. So this we will only select the value. You only select the value because you don't want to get the whole HTML, but we don't want to get the whole thing. If we just say get the element by ID like this, and if you console.log, I want to show you an example. Console.log this. Go to small screen here. We can also change this. Let's try if you can change this way so that we can now the form is there. This is better. So if I submit, try to reload, submit, you see now we are getting the HTML element, but we don't want the HTML element, we want the value. So if you want to get the value, we can do dot value like this. So now if you reload again and pass anything in there, so if I submit, so now we just get the value. So this is what we want to do here. So we want to get the first name value and also the last name value, and what else is there to get? Text, last name value. So we also want to get the country. So to get also the country, we can do this. We can also do const country. Country is equal to document.getElement by id.country. So we get this one. So if I can console.log name, email, and country. So if I save that, go back and reload, we pass the value here, and another one, anything you just pass. So if you now select country and submit, you see now we get now the countries here. You get, but this one could be name. Let's say Shabani, and then this one, let's say Muswamba, like this. So if I submit this one, you see now you get the name Shabani Muswamba, and then you get the country. So here you can play around with it. Okay, so this is it for getting the value from inputs, from a form inputs. All right, so next we want to work on show get this input and then display them on our HTML page. So to do that, first of all, we can do on submit. So what we want to do first, we want to show a title here. We want to show a list of the HTML here, or the input here. So the name, last name, and the country. So we can create an HTML. So we can do create HTML element to display value. So we can do const create a result is equal to document.create. So we create a paragraph. We can also add style. So let's now talk about add style. So we can do, for example, a result dot, let's say dot style. So if you want to add style, just call dot style dot let's get maybe color blue, and then also we can this is the text. We will show text like this, that's fine, but we can also let me show you, we can also do result style dot style dot font. Let's put maybe to 20, or maybe if you want something bigger, it's fine. Next, we also want to append the result before let's go. We want to append before the form and after the subtitle. So this is the subtitle. If you go to our HTML, this is the subtitle and this is the form. All right. So to do that, we can now tell, first of all, okay. To do that, we can do insert the result before the form. So before the form, so you can do but that will be after let's say after, because if you say before the form, what you should do is to use the subtitle. So you can do const subtitle element is equal to document.get element by id subtitle element. So we will take now subtitle insert adjustment. So insert adjacent element, and then we just pass now. So we said, but we don't want to. We want to after end, and then we pass now the element. So this is the element we want to pass here. So what this is going to do is, okay, right after the result, you're going to after the subtitle, so you're going to append this child here. Okay, so if now I save that, go back to the browser again, I reload. So we want to see also if there is error. If there is any error, you can expand this. Okay, like this. This is much better. So if there is any error, you will see it here. So you see error here, around here. So I can reload and then put the name again. Let's say Shabani and Muswamba, and then the country. If I save that, now you can see hello Shabani Muswamba from Canada. You see. All right, so this is it, how you can now manipulate the HTML. So what you have learned here so far is, okay, we capture the input. First of all, we listen the input in a submit event, and then we prevented the default behavior of the form of HTML or form submission on a web page. we capture the input form names, names and the country, and then we created a HTML element programmatically and set the style, add the style, and display them. And we also specify or target a specific place where we want to show them. So this is what we have done so far. But there's also another way we can do. We can we also learn about object. If you go back to our about our PDF, this is a PDF here. So you see that we managed to uh, do DOM manipulation, um, event and forms. So we want to work on some advanced functions. So advanced function, for example, we can create a function to validate the form input, to clear the empty space from the form, and maybe create an array, generate now, for example, generate an array or create, add data, set data, add and set, all of that. So we can go ahead and play a little bit with all of this. So by the end of this, at least you'll be able to do something by your own. And
All right. So next, we want to work on the function including arrays. So we saw about array. We have seen about that, how to create an array object, all of that. But now we want to now get in there. So actually div in array and array methods, play around with it, do array push, array pop, map, all of that. So the first thing we want to create a function. It's a function of validate form input. So you can do function validate form input like this, and this will take name and last name and country. Okay, so this function, another thing, first of all, let's create an array. Let's create an array of errors. So let's say errors is equal to empty array. So we can do if not name dot trim, if that doesn't exist, so we just push an error. So trim is a built-in method also for JavaScript. So the job for this just we check if it's nothing there, if there's space. We return. We also do the same thing for country, for last name, and then also for country, and then we just return errors. So if we go to Mozilla, developer on Mozilla, want to check JS, let's say trim, trim, okay, string.prototype. So trim, the trim method of a string value remove the white space from both ends of this string and return a new string without modifying the original string one. So this is what we do. But now in this case, if you see, in this case, we say that if not trim, so that means if there's no string, this will return an error. This is going to be an error. And if it is an error, so we push this in error here, our error list or error array of errors. So this is what we're going to do here. So if, for example, I just console.log here, errors, I save that, but now we need to call this function, because if I save this and I want to show you an example, because here we are learning. So if I save this and I don't do anything, I reload, and there's nothing in here, I just submit, nothing will happen. The country, that's the default country. Don't worry about that because we didn't correct that. Default country is Australia, but if I go back here, you put this country, put option default one. We put default to empty. I want to put empty and disable. The first one is disable. And just select a country. This one is supposed to be Congo, and that's it. So now we correct a little bit. So if I reload here and you see country, the first one you see there's nothing. So we can now select. But if we don't select a country, so if I submit, there's nothing going to appear there. Select a country, that's nothing. Nothing going to appear there. Or we can also set value to empty here if you want to correct that. Set value to empty. Okay, so here, if I submit, nothing is happening. Nothing will happen. Nothing. But what we want to do, we want to call that function because it's already defined. This is the function, but we need to use it. So to use it, we can call it here. We learned that the browser the program read the code from top to bottom. But with function, doesn't matter where you created, where you define it from. For example, here we define it from right after form, but we want to use it in the form. So when you submit here, after submit, we want to call this one. So we want to call the function. So when we call it, you see that this function required the parameters or arguments, which is a name, last name, and the country. So here we need to pass now this. We need to pass country. Nope. We need to pass name. We need to pass name, last name, which is last name, and country, like this. So ignore the rest. So instead of having this here, so I can remove this and just save. But you also make sure to get everything from here. So I want to remove this one, and I'll just copy everything from here. Okay. So now that space is clear, at least. So this one, I want to show it here, but I don't want to show it them there. We can actually show them here. I could put them here instead. That doesn't matter. We will get back to that. But I just want to show you how we can call that function. The function is called or invoked. So if you go back to our browser and try to reload, this is what we have. So I can pass again my name, Shaban. I didn't pass my name. Let's try. I don't pass my name, but we want to see what will happen. Now we see we got now array here. Name is required. Last name is required. If you go back, you see that name is required. Okay, here name is required, last name is required, and also country is required. A country we didn't show that. Did you add country? Yeah, country also is required. So you can see that, okay, everything appear here required. No, so one thing you notice here that the array was empty. We defined it as empty. So we use a built-in method for JavaScript or array method, which if you go here to our PDF, we say that we're going to talk about array. We saw it earlier, but I'm not sure if you can. can find it right now here. Okay, this arrays. So here array methods, array methods, which the common use method. So these are methods like push, pop, map. Okay, so I want to show you. Okay, this is it. This is it. So, and if, for example, I pass, you go back and you fill in data, fill in data, but we can also check. I want to show you another thing. This advanced way we are doing things. So we can check if you see the function. First of all, the function here returns something. We learn about the function, JavaScript function. Function can return something. Return something or do or return nothing. So this function here, we wanted to return an array here, but up here, this is where we are invoking the function or calling the function. But what I want to do is, we want to show this guy here, we want to show all this only if this function doesn't return error. So how are you going to do that? This is very simple. So to do that, you can use the if statement. Just remove this one. You can do if function dot length is not greater than 0, so is less than 0. Or you can do another thing. You can do is I'm trying to escape the AI generating code. So I can do dot length is less than or is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. So that means there's nothing there. Like this. We're trying to escape AI. Is equal to 0, like this. So that means no, there's no error, and we do something. Form submitted successfully. So that is one way. You can do if it's equal to 0, but you can also do. I'm trying to show you faster. We can also do if not. So you put the exclamation point dot length. So it's the same thing. So if there's no length, so we show now all this. We can now copy everything here and show them here. So what I can do here, I can give a comment, say validate from input. So display the rest. Display now the input if there is no length. So if I save that, I hope this is very good for you. It's not complicated. Since we know that this function will return an array, and we want to check if the array they are returning here is not empty, it does not have length. We do the rest of the thing here. So that means if the array is empty. So if I save that, go back to our browser, I reload, everything is fine. So I want to pass name, Shabani, and then pass also Muswamba, and then pass the country, and then I submit. Now we show Shaban Muswamba from hello Shaban Muswamba from Congo. That's good. All right. So if I reload again and then I submit, that nothing happened. It doesn't show anything. Why? It doesn't show anything. So it doesn't show anything because we told this guy that okay, we only show this here, only execute this code if there's no anything in array. But if we can do else, show errors, can say display errors. So we can do, let's use this AI to go fast. So we can do const error is equal to document dot get the element by ID errors. We don't have it, and then inner HTML is equal to empty validate for. We can do we can do what you call we can loop or do for each loop. But well, I can stop this here. I don't want to get confused to confuse you with so many things. Since we don't have a array, we don't have that. Instead to create it again, we can speed up. I want to show you how we can now do display, add CSS to add style to use to show element or hiding element. So I take this, I go here. So this one here, I want to give it an ID. Let's give it ID of form container. So this is another way. So if you type ID this way, is not an error. This is form container, and that's form container. But we can also have another. Let's see, errors, display error. This is good. Comment is very important. Display errors. So we can do display errors. We show them here. So we don't want to use the style here. We can remove the style. So for display error, we can now just show error inside your error message. It depends if you want to use the display error and error message. So it depends. I don't know. We just want to idea of display errors like this, or like this, display errors. But simple way, we can just show a text here. The form inputs or all form inputs are required. So we just want to show that error there. So here we want to get now element by ID. We pass now that ID here. This way, by the way, where we are right now is advanced topics. We are in advanced topics, so we are talking things as a developer, like someone who actually can do something. So if you are with me together right now, so you are at least you're able to do something, right? So here we can now comment this one, but since we already have this and we have text, we don't want to show that unless you want to create element, show element, so it depends. Another way is also you can also define this guy here, up here, you see, you can do display error like this element, so we can get it, say display error element. So that means now you get the element from there. So here I don't need to access it again from here. So that means one thing I can do is I can only add the style. I don't want to show this here. I can just show else dot style dot or dot show. Another thing is dot show dot style dot class. You can use class dot class name. Yes, dot class name is equal to dot class name dot no dot class name is equal to, let's say, for example, block. Yeah. So because we don't have that block class, but you can go up here. Can create, let's say, for example, harden class. Harden class. Harden like this. Display is equal to no. If you also want to, you can also show the block class, but Here, what you can do is um, here, if you don't have, you can remove the classes. You can do a clear error that hiding. So you can hide in the class. So it means that the element want to show again. But if you see block, I mean the error, the element will show. But we don't have that block class. I think is a default, built-in default. All right. So we save that. Okay. So the idea here is we have seen that you can execute this code, this part of code, if there is no error. But if there is error, we didn't tell the function what to do. We didn't tell the statement here what to do. This is what we are doing now. Okay, if there is error, we want to make sure that display block here. Or we can do class, remove the hidden class. So we can do dot class. Is it, let's see. Block class is actually fine. So if you go back here, reload, we will check about the class if it didn't work. So we don't have anything. So if I submit, we didn't get anything. Oh, actually it works. We can see here all form inputs are required, but you can also put the red color here so that you see them. Here we can do, can add class, say class error, and then also can have add another class or hide in the class, depend. So if we want to give that error class, let's say here, error text equal to red. So if I save that, we reload. By default is showing, but we want to harden it by default. This is the one. So instead, we can do class harden. So for harden class, we need maybe to correct it. Oh, harden class, so now is not there. If I reload, is not there. Harden here, correct that. And the here display block, so that means you remove, you remove that. So if you go back here, reload, and if I try to submit, now we get the class. So if I put Shabani and then put Muswamba and the country, select any country. If I submit now, that is gone. Congratulations. So this is a very, very step forward for you as a developer, JavaScript. So this is how this is the level you can now reach when you are learning JavaScript. So this is not beginners anymore. We are at a different level. All right. So next, but if you get, we want to do, for example, okay, this first of all, this is the validation. So we can see what we can learn next year from our JavaScript PDF here. For example, PDF. This is, for example, PDF. So we can, let's take, for example, countries, or we can create a user which want to create a reusable object. Because you see here that we can, we also need to learn about the object. So we can, how we can manipulate the object, or if we don't want to make this video very long, we can jump to advanced functions or JavaScript APIs. So this will help us to make requests to get users and display them. All right.
All right. So next, we want to do something. We want to play around with the array and the object. First thing, let's create a an array here, another array. Here you can clear the previous error, you can clear the errors, but let's create say users, const users. So we do users is equal to an empty array. So we don't have any, there's nothing in there. Okay. What we want to do is we also want to create now an object. Say this one is array of users. Can say user, or let's just call it the add user. Okay, so this now is an object, so we can call it object. So this one it will take so this will take we can say add user or create user. Let's we don't need to do that. We can just say we create user. Let's say I want to make it simple, so that doesn't confuse you. So I can do I want to just make it very simple that you can understand. Say create user object. So for that, it's going to be const. No, we don't need to do that. We can just use a function create user, and this one we just take a username, last name, and return user. But there's something else I want to show you that I want to call, for example, created at. So created at. So this is now going to be timestamp. I just want to show you about built-in functions, built-in methods for JavaScript. So created at, we can put this one here. Okay, so we can also, let's create another function, say add user to an array, but it's say by country, say by country. Okay, so what you do, can try to tell you that, okay, for example, group user, group users by country. Okay. Okay, so this is the function here. So this function, what it does is just anytime you create a new user, so we take that user, we check the country. If the country is we check the country when we add, so different user, different country. So the more the same users with the same country, the same users with the same country. So this is just the way that we can play around with the array filters, push, pop, maps. So these are just to, because this is actually the common things you are going to use a lot. These are things you are going to play around a lot. So if you want to become a pro in JavaScript, so these are things you must know and you must understand it. All right. So country is equal to user.country. So we get the country. So we check now. What we do here is if there's no user country, if there's no user country, so you pass the name. If there's no user country, so we just pass. We take the user and then we assign country here. But this is not really what we want to do. We will get back to that. For now, we don't need to do anything here. Just forget about this for now. Let's focus on something else. Let's focus on create user first. All right. So for create user, we want to scroll down a little bit. So here we will display user, we'll display this one. But instead to display all of this, we don't need to display the result. For the result, we can display it, but we can just say user created successfully. And we can maybe say user, we can say user name, user, we pass just name. We can do, I will explain to you about this template, about you putting the curly bracket and the name. I'll explain to you about this. Don't worry about it, about it now. Okay, was created successfully, and then we just want to show. Okay, that's fine. User was created successfully. Okay, but after that, we want to create now new user. So to create now new user, I can do user. So to create a new user, we just going to call now our object. So here we want to talk about object a little bit. So an object, this is how we define. First of all, this is how we define object. So you can define an object kind of a function. So if you go to our JavaScript here, we say object entry. So we got object entry here is, for example, so we can create a kind of object one, and create object one, aim something, b something. So this is actually the same thing. So I don't want you to get confused, and I just want you to take it as simple and to understand it. Yes. For example, here, what we are doing here, up here, create user. This is kind of an object. This is a function. So this is a function which we return the object. So we can do, for example, const user or const object, user object is equal to that this, and then return now. You can now say return user object. So this one with this one you see here, they are the same thing. So we can create const, we created an object, return. But another way also to do it short way, we don't need to do return, because since you know the function can return something, return array, number, return anything, or just return nothing. So in this case, this function we want to return, we want to say, okay, just return this object. In short, I'm sure I'm a bit clear here. All right. Since this is a project, we are actually developing something can help us get skills. So this is what we are doing here. All right. So we just go, okay, return an object. So we call the function return. So down here at the bottom, so to call now to invoke down that function. So once you invoke the function, create an user. So we call the function create a user. You pass it name, last name, and country. So we assign it to a variable called user. So, and then we want to push it, add to users, add to users. So we can do, but for now, instead to do add user by country, I can just do users dot push new user. So user dot push new user. So I'm just trying to play around with the functions a little. I'll be play around with functions, method, array methods. So all of that can help us to build something and to understand the JavaScript concept, JavaScript basics, and some higher level of JavaScript. So here, okay, uh, now this is the user, so we can push to user, push array to user, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to push it like that. Instead to push here exactly, so I want to call now this function here, which now we call add user to country group. So you pass now that user. That's one point. Another point, instead to declare user here, and then come to pass here. we will get that. We could also do something like this. Just take the whole thing and pass in here. Pass in here. So this is still going to work. But we will get there. One thing is just let's declare get user and then add the user in here. Okay. After that, we don't want to log, but we can say log users array here. We can console.log user here. Okay. I don't know. Okay, we will get back here. Let's get back now to this function here, which is so what I did here is control plus F, control plus F to select this function to find where is this function. So this function is here. So you see now this function get user. So once it gets user, what we want to do is we just want to get user.country because you know the user is the user got country, but you can also check, you can do exclamation point to check if country exists. So if user country exists, so we can maybe do filter, maybe do something, but for now we don't want to do anything. We just want to keep it as a default. Let's see. No, that one didn't work. So remove that, the exclamation point. Okay, so just keep it this way. So if I save, I hope this is not too much. So I save, I go back to our application. This is our application, and I reload. So I can add another user. Let's say, for example, color. And then let's say, for example, Ojero, something like this. Add that. And then if you put add, user color was created successfully. You see the message without error. Now look at down here. We get now our error. So if you see country is equal to Australia, country is equal to Australia, and then you see last name, name. This is now an object. If you see the prototype here, you see prototype is showing you this is an object. So we created a user, name color, last name Ojero, country Australia, created at. Now this is the time created. So we will spend a little bit of time here. Let's create another user. Let's create, for example, Johnny. Say Johnny. Let's say Johnny Alain, and then let's try to change, save that. Okay, down here we get another user again, which is now added to. First of all, we want to see how many our array. We got now two. We got two. Yes, we got two. But if you see the first one, I want to show you what we got in here. We got color, color Ojero, and then we also got another array inside this array, which is now Johnny, last name Alain, created that. This is the time created that. But top here, notice one thing, that the message user Johnny was created successfully, user color was created successfully. But we don't want to keep this message here. We want to do something fast. Instead to have this here, you see, to have this here, we are having now so much here. Is a bit hard to handle it, to handle all of this. So we can actually copy this one, and this one. If I press this one, and this one, we can actually add them. You can actually yeah, we can actually add them to a function. Let's create another function. Let's just put a function here. So we want to invoke a function, display display success message. Success message. So you pass user, we pass now that user. So that function, we don't have it. We can go down here and create now display success message. So this is the function was generated by us. It was generated by AI. So we can remove this. I can pass now this what we had, but if you see what AI generated, we don't have that one. But what I can do is I can just pass this one here. So we pass user. But one thing is, I want to show you another thing that okay, anytime when you are building a project, anytime you always have to check if that data exists. So you can check if user, if user, and if there is no user, there's no user exclamation point, or there's no user.name, so we just return. We can also just return an error, console.log invalid user. Okay, so if you can save that one. So if you say return, another way is if you tell you function return, so that means it's going to ignore the rest of the things here. This is not, this part of the code is not going to execute it. If you find this is there's no user, true, there is no user, or there's no user.name. So the function will stop from there. Execution will stop from there. But if not, we'll just continue and come to execute this one. So if you get this one, now we need to access now user.name. So access now the name, and here we create a result, create the path, show all of this, show it here. So if I save this one, we're going to go back and we get the same thing. So if you go back here, reload, let's create again color, let's create again 0, let's get set country, and then save. So we get again the same thing, and then down here the same thing. But what we want to do now, I want to show you now a built-in function or arrow function. Let's go and work on arrow function. All right, so one thing here is I want to show you, if we create, for example, let's create John, and then maybe say John Doe, and then country Angola, we add country that is showing default country, doesn't matter. I think we have a problem here. If we can fix it, it's not showing the right country. Yes, Angola. I want to show Angola like that. Congo, France, Kenya, US, UK. Yes. Okay. Now let's restart again. Let's say John and John Doe, country Angola. Now country is Angola. But you see that the message successfully and the input still there. So we need to clear this automatically. That is now we want to use an arrow function. So we can go back here, go back to our JavaScript. We want to use the arrow function in here. So if everything is correct, so we want to, let's try again, clear input, input. So we can do form.reset. Let's try this method. Form them for the reset, that didn't work, because that is just AI suggested that. What we want to do is we can do set timeout. Set timeout. So timeout, I want to show you the form, the arrow function. So this is the arrow function. We can now just create parentheses like this, arrow, and then open a curly bracket, and then just show what we want to do in here. So we set timeout. So to speed up, we can go to JavaScript. Let's say set timeout. Timeout method. So this is a JavaScript built-in method. So you can see the set timeout method of the window interface set a time which execute a function or specified piece of code once the time expires. Time expires. All right. So here After that function is called, we just need to call here. Let's say, for example, we want to console.log clearing form inputs after 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds, we just want to call that function. So if I come back here, let's say here, let's say we need do and then country, let's say for example Kenya. If I save that, after 2 seconds, it's supposed to see message here clearing. You didn't call the function. Oh, need to reload. As reload, let's try again. We need we need we need Noel. Save that. Let's wait after a second. Yes, after 2 seconds, you see now the function. They call now our arrow function or set timeout. Okay, so after two function, we can after 2 seconds. Sorry, we can say okay. After 2 seconds, we can now use this. We can call this one. Let's say, for example, dot remove. We don't need this one. We can call a result dot remove. So this is the result. If you say remove, just you remove the message successful. You remove that message. We remove that HTML, and then also we want to hide in there. But we can also clear the input. Let's see. So if save that, we need to reload again. Okay. Say John and do, and then the country is there. Let's see. The message was gone, and then the name also is resetted. So we reset our form successfully. So if I put again, let's say Shabani, another one Muswamba, and then the country, let's say Congo, and then if I set wait, now the message was clear successfully, and then the input also. We can put another one. Let's say, for example, Kala and Ojero, and then put a country. Let's leave the country like that. If I save again, okay, and let's put again another one. Let's say Linda, and let's say Odo, and the country. Use the same country. Okay, all right. So now that you're successfully, I want to show you now. Let's go back down here. We want to see now our array generated. So if you see the last array we have, this is the last update. So this is the first update, the second, third, and the last one. Look at the first element, the first country in our array is equal to the first country is Angola, and then you see the users in that country. So we got name, John, Carla, and Linda. Another country, the following one was Congo. The name was Shabani, last name. So this is it. But if you can also try to add, let's say, for example, let's say, another one, Musa. Musa, and the country, let's say Pakistan. Name, we don't have Pakistan. Let's set country Musa Ahmed. Country, let's say Kenya. If you save that, let's add another one. Let's say, for example, Hamisi. Let's say also Noor, country, let's say Kenya. If I save that one again, so we want to see now at the bottom here. This is the last console. It's our last console. So if you see a country Kenya, now you see you have two, and the Congo you still have 1, and the other country still 1. So this is it. This is how you can play around with this. But what I want to do next, maybe you didn't understand something here before going to the next topic. What are you doing here exactly? So what you are doing here is that we say that, okay, we get first of all the country. We get the country. If we get the country, we can check now. We check the users array. If you see the order here, we are showing country. We are showing countries. So list here we are showing countries. So we take the user, we add country. Let's take, for example, we add country. Something, for example, what we are doing is users, and then we take, for example, a country name. Say country name, and then we set now array, and then we take another user, let's say another country name, we set it, so on and so forth. So this is what we're doing here actually. So user, country, put, so the rest are here that also are the objects. So you can say user object. So these are what we have in here: user object, another user object. So these are what we have: user, another user, another. So this is so simple to understand. It's not that complicated. All right. Next, we want to now to display that users here. I just want to show you how we can display that users list here on the left or right side. Yeah? And then now we can do array pop, or filter user by something like that. All right, let's go and do that. All right, so next we want to now to show user, to display user by group. So if you go to here, I've just added this list here, not much really, and a little bit of style for list. It's not that good. So just this style, there's no much. But you can also add. I've also done this form container display flex and column. So just to show column here, this one, and list is this one here. So from our JavaScript, what I want to do after everything was reset, so we can do render users. So for that I can do render, or let's say render users. So for that one I can create now the function here, function render user by country. So I can do function render users, but AI generated data. Render user by country. So let me show you first. We need to get this list. Copy this one, and then we need to replace this one. So get element by ID. That's the list container, and then we don't need this one. We don't need to do it this way, but we can do first of all. Okay, let me go one by one. Let me cut this, go one by one. First of all, we want to show user by country. User by country. So we take, or users by country. So we take, we want to do for each. So if you remember about for each, so in user. So if I console.log country, so we'll see what we get there. If you just go back to the browser, this is the browser. Let me try. So I tried before. So I can do color. Let's do 0. And then if I add that one, that was clear. So you see now user from, you see this is Angola, but let me add another one. Let's say for example John do Angola, and again user from the same country. You see now user from Angola. So now we can see this is what we are getting, yeah? If your console.log that one. All right, so let's go to level 2. So level 2, okay, so we want to take now if this array has a property, has own property, so we pass the country. So if that go to the country, the property, so what we want to do there, we can do if got property country, let's want to do, okay, we want to reduce the amount of typing, yeah? So this is what I'm trying to do here. I want to type match. Okay, so if it was on country, so we get now country users. So we get now all users from country, but I can copy from here and then say users by country. So if I console.log that, you see you get all users from, you pass the country name. So these are users, but users, country users. Okay, I don't need that. So if I go back, need to reload. Let's add again John do add that. Okay, let's add again color Ojero, add that. So user from, now you see these are object. So these are object. So this is what I wanted to show you. Right, let's go to another level. Okay, so what we do now, if I save this, we take now the user, we can now loop through the user. So we take the user, we check if the user got user.length is greater than 0. If it's greater than 0, we can console.log we got user. So I can just console.log here, console.log users or country users, country users dot length. You can see the length there. So you can tell us how many users in that country. So if I go back, put again, add, we get 1. So if I put again, save, we get get 2. If I get, I put another 1. So I'm just trying to add random. Okay, so you can see now you get now the length. So this is what I wanted to show you. Next, next, okay, create a company section, a country section. Create a section for each country. So now we want to create another section. So we do a const country section is equal to document.create element, and then we create a section. I told you can create a div, create a element, create anything, and then we add country now. So here I can say country name or set country's name, set country name as title. We can also add style here if you want to style, style. If you want to style the section, you can add different section, border, solid, anything you can do here, padding, anything. Yeah? That's it. After we need now create now the list. So this is now the list, the URL list or unordered list. Sorry, unordered list. So once you get another list, this is the list here. So we just now take the users in the country and then loop them, loop the users here. create a list of users, which now we get now user item is equal to document.create now. After here, you see that we create an ordered list, and then now we create now child or children, which is now document.create element. You create this one, and then now append username, user ID, and created that. So if I save that one, we go back just to reload. So I can add John Doe, add also John. If I save that, okay, now we've got list here. I can close this for now and you see. So we got the Angola, John created that. We can also show, let's say, Ali, say Kandolo. If I save that, you see, add the same country, Ali Kandolo. You can also say Nur Kachimbisha, Chimbisha, set the same country is there. Let's try now. Let's say, for example, Kala, say Ojero. Let's say, for example, Kenya was added here. Now you see this is a different country. Let's say, for example, Hawa, say Bakaji, country, say Kenya. We save. Which was added. So we can add as many as country can add. So this is not only limited to this list. So you can add many lists, a different list, and this will keep going like this. If you also want, if you want to style the list, I've told you you can style the list. You can let's style style the list. So you can start the leaks padding, the list padding, and then what else you want to do? Padding bottom and margin. What else you want to do? Font size, color. You can also put rounded dot item dot let's say border radius. Okay, border radius, what can you give here? 5. And then padding. So I save that. So this is style for the list. We got a style. We don't have the really style for list. So for example, this another list. We can say, for example, I can also say here that background. But I want to set, for example, item dot style, but the style dot text. So I want to text align to left. So if I save that, go back, reload, I can add again John, add the John Doe. Let's see, it was added. Now you see this style here. You can remove the other style. You can, for example, go to here. This is the another list there. So you can say an ordered list, an ordered list, an ordered list, sorry, an ordered list, and the li. We can say something, for example, display. What is that again? I don't even remember how to style this. Let's ask AI. Remove default default default. What is that again? I don't remember. Okay, oh, that's the one. Yes. So if I save that and then I go back to reload, reload. Now let's add again, and this one save. Okay, now the list doesn't have this border again. So you can play around, add many as much as you can here. You can also so this is it. This is it. You can do much. You can do much more. Um, but the many thing here was to show you how you can manipulate JavaScript, how you can manipulate the HTML using JavaScript, how you can create this array, play with the different under some different type of built-in methods for arrays, for so much validation, the event listeners, all of that. So next thing we can do is I think we can build a small project. You can build some project, for example, build a calculator, build to-do list. This is actually modern to-do list. It's actually the same as to-do list. To-do list. So the only thing you can add here, you can add the remove button, clear button. So if you want, you can add that. So I don't want to do that because this video is already getting long. So in the next video, if you want, we can work on that, and so that you can create a REST API, because you see you didn't cover the REST API. You can add the APIs, your REST API, get data from a different server, filter data, display data. I also have another video about that already. It was already created my channel. You can go my channel about JavaScript and you see that my videos about JavaScript, you see that. So if something I didn't cover here or any mistake, you can just please leave comments in the description, and also you can request a topic which you don't really, which we really want us to cover. We can cover that. Right. My name is Shabani Muswamba, and thank you for being here. If you are new here and you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Also, like our video, leave much comment, and share with friends. See you in the next video. Thank you.
Right, that's it for now, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay subscribed for more.